What's up, everybody? I'm Keisha, your host of Put Your Phone Down podcast. I have a returning guest. I love returning guests. The first time it was audio, but this time you see us and you can hear us. This young man has been on the go, making sure that he gets the word out about how to grow your own food. And I mean, what he has done in the amount of years has been just breathtaking to me because a lot of people now are learning it's really important to grow your own food. And we are going to go through this. We have the founder of Beets, Big and Browns, returning guest, Joe Skibbie. What's up, Joe?
Hey, Keisha. Thanks for having me. Thanks for all the listeners out there. We appreciate you. I distinctly remember our first audio call. I was in traffic. We were on the phone. So to see that you guys have come through with StreamYard and now the video capability, you're doing big things too. So congratulations.
Thank you. You know, like I told you off camera, it's baby steps, but I had to take it, So, speaking of baby steps, Joe, you got a lot going on. And before we talk about those events, I wanted to cover some of the stuff that we talked about off camera. And one of them, I just kind of wanted to knock out of the very first portion of this conversation is the indoor gardening. People enjoy doing it outside, but for the ones that may be afraid to start outdoors, can you tell the listeners what all they would need, the beginner listeners or even the experts that enjoy indoor gardening? Can you give them some tips on how to start there?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, indoor gardening can be something that is enjoyed year round. It's something, especially that us here in Zone 5B can appreciate as we get sad, right? You hear about seasonal adjustment disorder, and we're all cooped up all winter long, and it doesn't really give us an opportunity to be out in nature or not bundled up, at least out in nature. So, one of the ways that you can grow is directly in your windowsill. You have a coffee mug, you have some dirt, maybe some potting soil, or maybe some dirt that you scratch out from the frozen ground. You fill a cup, drop some seeds in, and you monitor the water. A lot of times when you're planting, you want to have holes in the bottom of what you're planting in so that the water can drain and the roots don't get mold or mildew. But it can be in a coffee cup. You just add less water, right? You put that in your windowsill, and that's a totally acceptable way to grow. Another way is to get indoor LED lights so that you can grow more, right? And depending upon the length and the volume and wattage of the lights, that'll be sufficient to grow. When you are indoors, you'll want to discover a fan or a light source of air so that the roots don't get weak. It's called getting leggy. They'll get really long and they'll tip over.
So Joe has stepped away for a minute, but he was just instructing the indoor gardeners that, it sounds pretty easy, where you get the coffee cup, you can get a coffee cup and you can start. When Joe joins us back, I would love to ask him what's a good beginner seeds. So join us back and Joe will be back to answer all of those questions. Okay, we are back.
My
Joe, you
apologies.
on here?
You can hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. Yep.
All right,
Let's see.
fantastic. My apologies. We're working through some tech issues on this end, but definitely happy to pick up where I left off in terms of indoor growing. And again, whether you've got a windowsill with a south facing light or LED lights that you've brought in, even you can grow under fluorescent lights. There's really no limitations. You just want to make sure that the light is high enough wattage, that you've got a quality substrate so that the dirt that you're using is something that can host seeds. So any potting soil or potting mix that you buy at the hardware or grocery store, and that's really all you need. Then the free seed kit from Beets Beds and Browns, right? You can go to beetsbedsbrowns.com. You can choose from dill, pumpkin. We have sunflower seeds as well. You can select those. We'll ship those to you anywhere in the contiguous U.S. As I mentioned, we've got thousands of seed kits given away in very rural locales that we're not sure how they heard of us, but the word is spreading. Again, our goal is to give away 100,000 seed kits in the next 10 years because we want to get people growing. We want them to show how easy it is. And again, once you see the magic, the story of Jack and the Beanstalk, seeds go in the ground, up pops a plant. You're hooked, and then you want to grow the next thing, and you're always dealing with challenges. You're always presented with new insects, new fungus, new bacteria to overcome, and that's one of the things that you're constantly learning as you're gardening, so that the sooner you get started, the sooner you can be successful, and that's something that we're always going to be hoping to get as many people started as possible throughout the year.
So, Joe, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I am not quite for certain what I done, but hey, the show will go on. So as long as you can hear me, one of the things that I told the audience, when you did return, is what would be a good beginner seed, for those who are thinking about taking gardening seriously. They got to start somewhere. What would you suggest would a good beginner seed be?
Yeah, so the seeds that we offer for free is dill, which is an herb, um, acorn squash, which is a cucurbit, so a squash plant that they're both very easy, and either one of them would be good to start inside or right in the dirt outside. Herb, obviously, you can cut that and sprinkle it on fish fresh. You can dry it, put it into dips. You can use it to make pickles, right? And then the acorn squash is a longer season plant where you're going to be able to have that in the ground for 90 days. And that's going to wind and vine its way through your garden or through your house. You can prop that up and put it on lamps and other plant holders to be able to allow that to roam freely. Indoor plants with the squash, you're going to need some form of pollination. So that one might be better started outside. You can also self-pollinate. There's videos where they do that with a Q-tip, and you take the pollen from the male flower and put it into the female flower. That's what the insects are doing outside naturally. So there's a bunch of different ways to get started, but starting with dill or a squash plant is a really easy way and with a high success rate that you can get started and start your gardening journey.
So I know you and I was talking about how important, the gardening world, basically we need you, like this is what it is. Just in us talking back and forth about grocery shopping and how a lot of people now, they want to eat healthy or they're trying to eat healthier and they get to the grocery store, doesn't matter what grocery store, and you might see a head of lettuce that possibly is the same pricing as a value meal at, a fast food place. Now, most people will think, you know what, this one head of lettuce or whatever, doesn't cover all the other things that I would want to pick just to make a salad. So I'll just go to the fast food place where I'm guaranteed to get something to drink, a sandwich, fries, and maybe a dessert. Let's talk about how important it is to strike a deal or have a conversation with the gardener, because the gardener, I'm assuming you'll walk out with way more talking to somebody who either is growing their food or, being a gardener to somebody. So can we talk about the importance it is to, pretty much support and love on our fellow gardeners out here?
Yeah, no, it's a lot of times in food deserts or places where fresh produce is scarce, you're going to find a lot of the ultra processed foods that are in the news right now, including fast food places. That's challenging because we're all hungry. We have an immediate need to eat, and it takes planning, right? So maybe that planning isn't done by you this year, but you operate within fresh produce markets at your grocery store or farmers markets where there are farmers and gardeners growing and delivering that food to you, or you're looking to supplement. So whatever the volume of produce that you're planting enough to have a salad a week. So now you're cutting eating out, or you're cutting that fast food meal once a week, and you just start small. So introducing new habits is always most successful when you start small, and gardening is no different. So maybe this year it's that dill plant. Maybe you drop some seeds for acorn squash outside, and at the end of the year, it's summer grilling season. Now you've got these acorn squash that you can cut in half and put on the grill and eat them right from the grill with a little olive oil on them. So it all takes planning, and right now is the time to plan in our zone 5B, where you really don't have success putting plants in the ground until after Mother's Day. May 15th, usually. I think Mother's Day is May 8th or just before that. So a lot of planning goes into it. A lot of people are starting their seedlings now. We've got, let's say, 12 trays of 75 plants each that is waiting to get put into the ground. We have season extending hoop houses that allow us to put stuff into the ground early. So to say that you're going to start May 15th and have 5 meals a week come from your garden with no other experience, it's not really realistic, right? So you want to be soft on yourself when you're setting these goals to grow more food. And I think you can easily say 1 meal a week is going to come out of our garden, and that garden can be lettuce greens, chives, and maybe a tomato plant for the end of the season, longer term down the road. Maybe some green beans. Green beans turn around pretty quickly in this climate. So, but again, that's as you start to dig in and learn more about this. We're hosting a garden seminar. Get Your Garden Started, April 10th, 9 to 10:30 a.m. It's going to be virtual. Just for Put Your Phone Down podcast viewers, we'll offer the garden ! Discount code. So if anybody wants to join us free of charge, enter garden ! Into the discount code, and you'll be able to join us. The other people that we've not only shared this course with, but then also some of the artists that we've interviewed and other garden interests that will participate in that event that day. We're going to be starting from soup to nuts, all the different things that we advocate for, and kind of demonstrating, holding hands to make sure that you're not scared to get started. It can be overwhelming, especially searching online. There's such a wealth of information that it can literally overwhelm you and kind of deter you from getting started. But I'm here to say that a free seed kit is all you need. That's clearly our mission, and what we're hoping to accomplish is distributing those seed kits. Anyone in the contiguous 48, you can visit us at beetsbedsbrowns.com. Free seed kit is the URL tab. Share your information with us, and we'll get that in the mail.
Joe,
especially timely now with spring right around the corner.
So Joe, I don't know how much realistically it picked up. The equipment just dropped.
Fair enough. I had recording was going on. I think you dropped, but the stream stayed live. So
Okay,
we should be
perfect.
good.
Because I'm not for certain what's going on, but you know what? We still go get the word out, and that's the most important part. So, um, I love the way that you dived in and talked about the webinar, and because I lost you towards the end, if you don't mind just repeating everything, just in case uh, it didn't pick it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what we wanted to also talk about and cover is, when you are outside and you get into gardening, there are certain things that you naturally cannot spray on your food, during the garden. Again, for the beginners or the ones that absolutely love it, is it any type of suggestion that they cannot put on their food to poison themselves? I think it's some good ones out here, but I mean, can you walk me through, or the listeners through, what they can do for their weeds and things?
Yeah. So, um, being that we're not organically certified, right? And even if you are organic, there are approved pesticides and chemicals that you can put on your garden. What we're trying to do is just be as clean as possible along the vein of regenerative farming. And what that means is that anytime we have a pest problem, we try and find a natural solution for it. So if we have cucumber beetles on our cucumbers and they destroy the crop. So this year we're going to try marigolds. There's actually a compound in marigolds that they make pesticide from. It's pyrethrin, I think, and that's naturally occurring in the plant. So companion planting, you can bring in beneficial predator insects. You can companion plant, and there's ways to do it without chemicals. Sometimes they're just overrun, right? And squash bugs and cucumber beetles, they don't go away. They occupy your plants and they're in the soil. They lay their eggs year over year in the soil. So what we're doing is introducing alternatives to that. And we can use a product called neem oil, which is, again, it's not organic. It's a natural compound, but that helps with plant health as well as insects. You can introduce ladybugs for aphids and mites, and ladybugs are a natural deterrent to those pests. So there
Really?
are
So
things.
if you collect some ladybugs, you put them. What do? You put them around your garden or something?
So yeah, you can order them, which seems kind of strange, right? And some people
Okay.
deter that, but this is another reason why the native landscaping helps. If you have landscaped areas near your garden and you present natural or native plants to that area, it'll bring all the beneficial predators for the region that you're gardening in. So we've got purple coneflower, we've got bee balm, we've got prairie smoke. We've got anise hyssop, all things that are native to this growing region. And again, you can find those things at a local native plant sale. You can find them at your local hardware store. You can order seeds online and start them yourselves. Some of them need to freeze, so they need to go through a winter cycle before they'll be able to grow. So it may take a year or two for those to take root. But nothing is more attractive to those insects than the plants that they were evolved in, right? Or that they evolved around. So that's a real powerful gardening trick. And we have anise hyssop, we have sunflowers. We're going to be planting marigolds all in the garden to make sure that the pollinators are there, not only feeding off the negative insects that damage the garden, but that they're there pollinating the native plants as well as the plants in the garden that we're hoping to harvest throughout the year.
Yeah, we can learn a lot from you. I mean, I'm hoping that this is covered, all this knowledge is covered in the webinar that's coming up, because I'm just listening to you like, man, you just pretty much just started, and I'm up here like intrigued, because I thought all this time ladybugs were damaging to certain things, but you broke it down. I wanted to get on also beets Beds and Browns. Like, of course, the first time you were on here, we talked about where the name came from. I mean, Joe is a hip hop head, so Beats, Beds, and Browns is all kind of, merged in. Can you tell us all about Beats, Beds, and Browns, the concerts you didn't hit up, the events that you going to? It's your time to drive them over to you, Joe.
Yeah, so Beats, Beds, and Browns is a media platform where we interview emerging hip hop artists, garden interest from homestead to commercial ag, and bourbon and whiskey distillers. So these are three things that I'm incredibly passionate about, and somebody planted the seed that we should use our professional skill set. I run a digital agency to be able to grow our own advocacy brand, and those were the things that I chose. The mission again to distribute seed kits, but then the joy of having a celebratory nosh here and there, as well as attending concerts throughout Chicago and Indianapolis, Michigan City. We've really gotten into a community of kind of growing performers that are doing shows between Detroit and Chicago. We're working with Print Screener, Rock a Block in Indianapolis, who helped us with our first launch concert to do shows in Indianapolis. And again, artists, the truest form of expression is art, right? Garden is my artistry. These are performers, street poets, lyricists. They're people that are telling stories through hip hop, and we're able to connect with them and help them spread the word about their products, support them as they fine tune their craft. What we see is, up and down ticket. There's guys that are just starting out with live performances. They're great studio musicians, but they don't have the chops. They don't have the breath control to be able to perform live. So we see that evolution of people that we interview and are on the cusp. They're ready to make it big. They've been on Sway's Universe. They've traveled across the country performing in other hip hop forums that they're catching on, and they're growing an audience. And it's just fantastic to see. I mean, I'll never forget at the end of our first season, we had our concert. There was 15, 20 people there. Artists get off the stage, and they were just very thankful that we gave them a forum to be able to perform and highlight their skills. And that means the world to me, just to be able to support someone in their craft and to be able to help them on their journey, just as they helped me. I mean, some of the first season interviews, we had 0 followers. We weren't even in existence. They breathed us into existence by participating with us. So we don't take that lightly. That's why we've invited all them to participate in the garden forum, whether it's them or their spouse. They've all expressed privately a desire to be able to grow their own food, to be able to store their own food, right? We navigate towards more of a homestead concept that, we grow the food, we store the food, we save the seeds, we eat the food, we grow the seeds, we store it again next year, to have that type of cycle to get us off of the merry-go-round of rising grocery prices, rising health chaos, right, with avian flu, spiking spiking egg costs. The more that we can grow and be self-reliant on, the less responsive we have to be to instances like that.
Yeah, I think what you got going on is awesome. I want, like I said, my goal is to drive people to your page because it is some really great interviews on there. And then, like you said, although I didn't put my drinking down, the fact that you have people on there that have knowledge about what they drinking, what goes down smooth, what goes down. I've watched a few, and I'm like, dang. I mean, if you gonna talk about drinking, why not have a few people on there that know exactly what it pairs with? And like you said, you have artists on there that you given a chance, and it's a few actually that I know if I've been looking for some songs in the background, you can type their names in, and on TikTok, on Facebook, they are legit. So I like that type of support exists. And then the bed part of it, which is the gardening. So, like you said, you threw that all in, you know, again, Joe, just kind of rounding out. if you wouldn't mind telling the listeners about the webinar that you have and the education that you go be putting out there, where they can register, I would love for you to repeat that.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of the information can be found at beatsbedsbrowns.com. Whether you're looking for a free seed kit that'll be sent to your house and get you started on your garden journey, or whether you're looking to scroll through our YouTube feed, we've got shorts, we've got longer form content where we're instructing people on how to make bone broth, how to plant elderberry seeds, how to turn elderberry into elderberry syrup, how to grow green beans, what to do with different insects. We cover a lot of those topics. And for those looking to get started, but maybe a little scared or intrepid to move forward, that's why we're hosting the Get Your Garden Started class. I'm notorious for needing my handheld the first time I do anything. And once I have that done, then I'm free to fly after that. But we're going to be covering all the basics, planting your garden, soil and planting basics, watering and maintenance, and then the harvesting and beyond, right? You end up with the fruit or the produce, the vegetables, and then now it's seeds. How do we save the seeds so that we don't have to invest in seeds next year? If you get things that are heirloom, perennials on the native side, then they'll produce seed that you can end up sharing. You can end up starting a not-for-profit and giving away seed yourself too. So all of this is geared with you starting your path to growing. And all of that information can be found at beatsbedsbrowns.com. Getting your free seed kit, digging into some of our content across the multiple channels we produce, and then registering for the Get Your Garden Started seminar that'll be virtual but live on April 10th at 9 a.m. Central.
Who can beat that? If you watch, you learn something. If you register, you getting some packets so you can at least learn, free. You don't have to who can beat that? And then just kind of learning that you might really enjoy gardening, whether it's indoors or outdoors, after all. So Joe, before we wrap up, quick question. Fact or fiction? Is it cool to talk to your plants? Are they really listening? This has been a really big debate. Some people say if you sing to them, they grow. If you talk to them, what's your opinion about this?
Yeah, I mean, that's facts. I 100% talk to my plants. The neighbors can attest as they'll be walking by and, what's this crazy guy doing talking to his plants? And sure enough, it's, I don't know if it helps the plants, but it helps me. Part of this is everything that we end up doing when we're gardening, right, is finding peace and tranquility. I've even mimicked aromatherapy, right, where they say rub it between your hands and take a deep breath. I'm doing that with the mint that we grow. You're carrying around fresh produce, taking it inside and improving your healthy eating habits. So from a wellness standpoint, mental and physical, I think gardening is a top-notch hobby that, again, is another reason why I want to get as many people started as possible, because it really has been a place for me to go and disconnect and enjoy and find joy in growing and creating. So
It definitely sounds peaceful, and I'm so glad that you were here to clear up the fact of fiction. I've always heard that talking to your plants, they grow more, or you can sing to them. But it has become a great debate because some people like, hey, look, they just plants, I water them, and I'll still get the same results. But, I thank you for clearing that up. My goal is to drive an audience, who probably has never thought about gardening, or maybe they put it down and they thinking about picking it back up. This is a perfect time. I heard you say around May, that's when it starts. That's when you can really get out there. So we want to push this as much as we can. We are on our way to April, so now they can start getting prepped. And this is what this virtual webinar is all about. So Joe, I hope that I've helped, even though we have had some technical difficulties. It's okay. Why not?
keep on keeping on for sure.
Yeah, why not? What's the show without a little spice thrown at it every now and again? But we got Joe Skibbie, the founder of Beds and Browns second time around. Joe, I can't thank you enough for educating us, and again, my goal is to drive people your way. Anybody have any questions, check out Beats, Beds, and Browns. He has a lot going on. If you want to know about the garden, if you want to know some concerts, some new artists that's really out there doing the damn thing, he talking to them. And even if you want to know about that sippy sip, you go on there and you go learn something. I promise you, it's not just a page where you just go hang out. He's making TikToks about what to do, how to do it. And this is exactly what this webinar is going to be about. So if you want a little sample of what you're going to get, head over. Is the Beats, Beds, and Browns on TikTok as well?
Yep, at Beats Beds Browns on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Okay. So yeah, for the listeners, he makes the reels. He walks you through it. He got the voiceover clip trying to show you everything. And you're going to get that and more with this webinar, I promise you. So guys, please register in so you can learn something, how to grow your own food. You're going to need to know how to grow your own food. You're going to get so irritated at what they have at the grocery stores that you're going to at least want to try it out. So this is where you go for that information. For everybody listening, I am on all platforms, including YouTube. You can watch it here or listen to it on all platforms. Joe also has his podcast, Beats, Beds, and Browns, where he's talking. And what season are you on?
So we concluded season 5. We're planning season 6 of the best emerging hip hop artists, garden interest from homestead to commercial ag, and bourbon whiskey distillers.
See, season 6 sound like it's about to be hot. So you guys do not want to miss Joel's season 6, but he has other seasons on there. Please go and watch, learn, follow, share. It doesn't hurt anybody to do that. So I'm your girl, Keisha, for Put Your Phone Down podcast, my returning guest, Joe Skibbie. I hope to have you back, Joe, like, especially when we come back around for winter. Would love to, for people to know what to do in that case. So, all right, you guys, until the next time, I hope that I have informed and brought some business over here to Joe so you can learn how to grow your own food. It is very, very important. Till the next time,
Awesome.
guys.
Thanks for having us, Keisha, and thank you to all the Put Your Phone Down podcast listeners. We hope that you join us. Remember, garden, all caps with an exclamation point, is your discount code for free entry into our Get Your Garden Started seminar, April 10th at 9 a.m. Register at beatsbedsbrowns.com.
There we go. Good way to end it. All right. See you guys there.